Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Levi. I am the co-owner of a land investing business called MMC Land. Our company is worth multiple six figures, and to this point, I've mostly only used Regrid. Today, I'm going to pretty much go over the software and give my honest opinions on it. I've been using the software for a little over a year now, and I pretty much know most of the features. So with that being said, I feel like I'm very qualified to be able to go over exactly if the software is worth using to start in land flipping. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Now, what is Regrid? Regrid is basically like a parcel mapping platform. You click on a parcel, it gives you county data. So it'll essentially give you like owner name, mailing address, like acreage, just pretty much all the information you could want on a specific parcel. Basically, it just takes county records, puts it on a software for you to see. You can export data from there. It just kind of goes off the county platting, essentially. And so think of it as like a more investor focused, like Google Maps, essentially, that's built for individual property research. And so I want to go over the key features breakdown. So once again, parcel boundaries and ownership data. You have very quick access to owner names, mailing addresses, assessed values, stuff like that. It just doesn't have phone numbers on there, obviously. That's pretty much standard in every land software. And even when you're at the property in person, you can see where you are, so you can see where the boundaries are according to the coordinates, right? And then now you have map layers. So you have overlays for elevation on the property if it's in a flood zone. Sometimes it has the land use codes or like zoning, for instance. It's great for identifying properties that are going to be buildable or non-buildable based on the conditions of like the elevation, and of course how the property is zoned. Knowing how a property is zoned is super important in determining what you can build on it and what you cannot build on it. You also have drawing and export tools, so you can draw boundaries and create export lists based off of that. You can choose specific filters that you want to get for a list of properties that pop up. And so it's very useful for building lead lists in a specific area. From what I know, you can't export whole counties. Now, I might be completely wrong. Most of the time, I use Regrid for like very specific like subdivision sniping, essentially. And then I use the land portal for whole county exports. And I just recently have been doing that. Now I'm going to sound stupid because I've been using this software forever. If you can whole county export, and honestly you might be able to, but I'm just telling you guys how I use the platform. I've just never done it like that. And of course they have a mobile app, so this is very convenient when you're, let's say, trying to visit your property in person. You can see exactly where the boundaries are, so it's very easy to go and pretty much set up your flagging tape, put your for sale sign down, because you know exactly where you're going to be. I would say in some cases it's like 5 to 10 feet inaccurate, so just keep that in mind, but it's going to give you a very close range. So this is how I use Regrid in my specific business. Kind of went over this, but essentially I pick new counties. Generally I find counties that are 1 to 3 counties removed from a big city, and then I look at specific subdivision layouts that match my filters. Like I said before, I don't really do whole county exports on Regrid, so I don't even know if it's possible. But with that being said, other softwares have better filters for that anyway, if that's what you want to do. So that's why I stick to like very specific sniping individual subdivisions that I find are worth my time. But again, I can check all the parcel info, flood zone overlays, elevation overlays, and then I go and export, the specific subdivisions or areas that I like, with the specific filters that I put on the properties that it's popping up for me. So once I export that, it's very easy. It's in a Google spreadsheet. It has pretty much all the information on each parcel on that spreadsheet for you to go off of. You can find the owner's name, mailing address, stuff like that. From there, you can skip trace. You can find phone numbers that way, or you can mail, you can text, however you want to do marketing, so that way you can start making offers on those properties. So let's go into the pros and cons of this platform. I would say the biggest pro of this software, because honestly, Regrid's like a pretty basic land software. You can use it for houses too, but I would say it's probably better for land. But it's affordability for pretty much anyone. So I would say it's probably one of the cheapest softwares that you can use for this business. I think it's like $10-15 a month. I pay yearly, so I don't really remember the monthly, but I think it's something like that. And it's pretty easy to use when you're just starting out. The filters are like pretty straightforward. It's great for pulling lists in specific areas, which I feel like is smart to do when you're just starting out anyway. So that kind of adds to like a very good beginner software. And yeah, like I really want to emphasize that it's just so much cheaper than a lot of the other advanced softwares, and you can get the job done. Like I said, I very recently started using other softwares to pair along with Regrid, and I still use Regrid because I really like its data. It's very accurate, especially with elevation in my experience. Like, for example, other softwares, the elevation might be kind of incorrect, and I go on Regrids, and I just trust Regrid more. Same thing with like the calculated acreages on other softwares. Generally, it's different than what I see on Regrid, but I just trust Regrid more. It has a lot of very accurate information, and honestly, it's a software that I'm never going to get rid of, even though it's like one of the bottom, of the bucket softwares that generally only beginners have. Now, of course, since it's like one of the cheapest softwares, there's going to be cons, right? So one thing I noticed is that data can update very slow. I've had properties that I've bought in, a really long time ago, and of course it depends on the county, but it takes kind of a long time for data to update. So like you might be sending out a piece of mail to someone who sold their property months ago. Of course, it depends on the county, like how fast the county is going to update the information as well. But I noticed Regrid kind of takes a while compared to other softwares. On top of that, a lot of the super advanced softwares nowadays, like the top of the line expensive ones, have a lot of different stuff like AI comp reports, AI slope reports, stuff like that, heat maps, so you can look at counties, see what's selling. Regrid's not going to have that. It's pretty much one of the most basic softwares to use. So of course it's not going to have all the super nice features, but it gets the job done. Like I said, I've grown my business to be worth multiple six figures just using this $15 per month software. So I mean, it just goes to show you that even though it's not the best, it can get the job done very efficiently. Now, my biggest con with Regrid is that like it literally takes forever to load, and it's so annoying because if I'm trying to snipe specific subdivisions, essentially what I've noticed is every time you go to like a different county, you have to refresh every time, and it can make things super annoying. Otherwise, the data won't load properly. I don't know if it's just me, but my investing partner has the same problem, and it can take, doing market research a little bit long to do. So it is pretty inconvenient. I'd say that's my biggest issue. It can load very slowly. Just makes, doing market research take longer, which sucks. But that's really my biggest problem with the software. And lastly, again, disclaimer, I might be wrong, but I don't think you can do full county exports with the software. Again, I use Land Portal for that because I like the filters on there better anyway. But if you're using Regrid, I would just stick to subdivision sniping anyway because it's cheap and it's likely what you're going to use if you're a beginner anyway. So, who should use this? I think every beginner should start with this software. This software or Landglide. Landglide, seems all right. I mean, it kind of, it's kind of the same thing, like bottom of the bucket, like software in terms of price and like what you get for what you pay. I just like Regrid's UI a little bit more, so it's kind of up to you. But I think everyone should start using Regrid compared to all these other super expensive softwares, because you don't need to start like that. I didn't start like that. I know other land investors that didn't start like that, and you can make a lot of money just using Regrid. Now, if you're an advanced investor, and you started with another software, you probably don't need Regrid. You probably should upgrade to another software like the Land Portal or Land Insights because they're expensive, but you get way more bang for your buck. And at that point, if you're advanced, you know what you're doing, you have a system that works, you're probably using one of those softwares anyways. So there's no point, really getting Regrid, in my opinion. I would say the only reason to get Regrid is if you want to like cross-reference data with another software. That's what I use it for. But if you've never done that before and you're still successful, it's probably not really a point to do that. You probably already have another system that you can do your due diligence on. And I want to reemphasize, if you are on a budget, Regrid is one of the best softwares that you can get in land flipping. So like I said, guys, I like Regrid. I'm going to keep using it, even though it's not the best software compared to these other bougie ones. I'm going to use it because I like it. I've used it my entire land flipping, career. I make a lot of money off of it. It's only like $100 a year because I pay the yearly plan. I get a little bit of a discount, and I love cross-referencing these other softwares that I use, the information on the other softwares with Regrid, because I find that Regrid in some cases can be more accurate and it helps me do due diligence that way. If you're looking for a way to do maybe a little bit more due diligence, or if you're just starting out in land flipping, I would highly recommend Regrid in 2025. It's absolutely worth it. Now, if you guys like the video, comment your questions, concerns, or if you guys currently use Regrid, and make sure you guys subscribe. Again, my name is Levi. I hope you guys have a nice rest of your day, and peace out.